Hey everybody, this is Mr. Woodward. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use video physics to analyze the motion of a projectile. So first of all, here I am throwing a tennis ball at school. And first thing I need to do is tell video physics how big everything is, like what the scale of everything is. So normally I would say, use a meter stick, put it on the ground or hold it up in the video. But in this case, a meter stick is going to be too small relative to the scale of the space that I'm in, right? I'm throwing a tennis ball pretty far. So I need something bigger than a meter stick. And one of the most useful and reliable things that I can use is actually my own height. I know that I'm 6'3". I can convert that to meters, and I can just scale across my body. So if I go back to here at the beginning of the video, I stood nice and tall, and I'm going to use that for scaling. So I'm going to go to the tip of my head, the soles of my feet, right at the bottom, and then I'm going to tell video physics that that is not 1 meter, right? Usually it just says is 1, but I'm going to say is, in my case, 1.9. That's my height in meters, okay? So now I've scaled, and then I'm going to play the video forwards and stop at the moment that the ball releases from my hand. So not here, but here. That is where I want my origin to be. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the ground right underneath the ball. So I do want to measure my heights relative to the ground and relative to the release point, right? I only want to analyze the motion of the tennis ball while it's in the air, not while I'm still throwing it. All right, then I can track my points. I had to do all of those by hand. I couldn't get the tracker to work. That's okay. Sometimes you just have to track by hand. And then, by the way, I actually filmed this by myself. I didn't have anybody to help me at the moment. So I just put my iPad on the ground between two books to make sure that it didn't tip over. And it, held it perfectly still for me, which is really, really nice and worked really, really well. So you can do that also. Just try to prop your iPad or your phone on the ground, maybe between two books or something, to make sure it doesn't tip over. All right, so I've tracked the motion of the object, and now I'm ready to generate some graphs. So I'm going to export the data to graphical analysis. I'm going to open it in graphical analysis, copy to graphical, and here's the data. Now, the top graph is actually not quite zoomed out, so I'm going to hit this magnifying glass in the lower left corner of the graph, and it will zoom to all data. Okay, I'm just going to double check that that has been done for the bottom graph as well. Awesome. So the top graph is just showing me horizontal and vertical positions. So here at the beginning, my time is 1.96 seconds, right? I didn't release the tennis ball at the very beginning of the video. It played for a little bit. So that's my initial time, 1.96 seconds. My initial height, the red dot, was 2.38 meters above ground was that release point. Then here is my maximum height of 3.74 meters above ground, okay? That is, by the way, where the velocity down in the lower graph, the vertical velocity, is closest to 0. And if I'm not sure, I can tap 1 to the left and see that the maximum height was 3.71 meters. That's in red. And over here it was 3.73, but it's 3.74 at that spot. So that is indeed my maximum height. Then going all the way to the end of the video over here, the final time when it hit the ground was 3.36 seconds. So I can use that time subtracting from the initial time to actually figure out how long the ball was in the air. And then the blue dot on the very top of the top graph, 12.58 meters, is the range. That's how far I threw the ball, okay? And we can see that it hit the ground at 0.12 meters, which was just before it hit the ground. 0.12 meters, the final resting spot. Okay, so that's a lot of the information from the top graph, the position data. The lower graph, though, is the velocity data. So here, going back to the beginning, if I look at the sort of navy blue dots, those are horizontal velocity. So the initial horizontal velocity that I threw the tennis ball was 10.05 meters per second. And then the green dots are vertical velocity. My initial vertical velocity was 5.11 meters per second. So I can use those velocities to figure out theoretically how high and far the tennis ball should have gone. And then I can compare that to the actuals over here in the top graph, actually to here, figure out how high it actually went, and then here how far it actually went, and then to compare theoretical and actual.